Imagine a quiet summer morning in rural Iowa where the sun rises over endless fields of corn, casting a golden glow on a simple roadside stand run by two innocent sisters, Nora and Kora Whitfield. Their laughter echoes as they sell fresh eggs from their family farm, dreaming of ice cream treats with their earnings. But in an instant, that idyllic scene shatters. They vanish without a trace, leaving behind an empty cash box and a community gripped by fear. For 3 agonizing years, their parents, Grace and Garrett, endure whispers of suspicion, sleepless nights haunted by what-ifs, and the crushing weight of not knowing if their daughters are alive or dead. Then, one fateful day, a hobbyist magnet fisher pulls something sinister from the murky depths of Cedar Creek, a rusted milk can containing tiny human remains. This discovery unravels a web of deception so dark it exposes the fragility of trust in small-town America. Welcome to today's video on The Hidden Horror Next Door, a true crime story of betrayal and resilience. As we dive into this chilling tale inspired by real events of abductions and community secrets, we'll explore not just the facts, but the emotional depths of human endurance, the philosophy of trust and deception, and how language, through idioms like skeleton in the closet, meaning a shameful secret hidden away, can help us unpack universal truths. Stick around as we journey through this narrative, learning advanced English vocabulary along the way, and reflecting on how such stories teach us to cherish our loved ones and question the facades around us. In the heart of rural Iowa, where vast farmlands stretch like an endless green ocean under the vast blue sky, the Whitfield family had built a life of simple joys and hard work. Grace Whitfield, a woman in her mid-40s with sun-kissed skin and calloused hands from years of tending gardens and raising chickens, knelt among her tomato plants that fateful July morning. The air was thick with the scent of earth and ripening vegetables, a sensory reminder of the cycles of life she held dear. Her husband, Garrett, a sturdy farmer with a quiet strength forged from generations of tilling the soil, was out in the fields on his tractor, the rhythmic rumble a comforting constant in their 23-year marriage. Their daughters, Nora, aged 8, and Kora, aged 7, were the light of their world. Energetic girls with matching brown braids and infectious giggles who manned the family's roadside egg stand every summer morning. This stand, a wooden shack painted in cheerful red with a hand-lettered sign reading "Fresh Farm Eggs, $2 per dozen," represented not just extra income but a lesson in responsibility and community for the sisters. Drawing from true historical elements of Midwestern farm life in the early 21st century, where roadside stands are a staple of rural economies, this setup mirrors the trusting, close-knit communities that dotted Iowa's landscape, much like those during the Great Depression when families bartered goods to survive. But on this day, as Grace wiped sweat from her brow, leaving a streak of dirt like a warrior's mark, the crunch of gravel announced an unwelcome intrusion: Sheriff Tom Daniels' cruiser, followed by 2 unmarked cars. Daniels, a family friend from church who often bought eggs from the girls, wore a face etched with sorrow, introducing Detectives Morrison and Chun from the state police. They needed privacy, he said, leading them into the kitchen where the linoleum floor still shone from Grace's recent mopping. Morrison, with his graying temples and authoritative demeanor, delivered the blow. A magnet fisher had retrieved a milk can from Cedar Creek containing small human remains, believed to be Nora's. The word remains hung in the air like a death knell, evoking the idiom "kick the bucket," a euphemism for dying, originating from old execution methods, but here it was raw and literal. Grace's world tilted. Her legs buckled as she clutched the oak table, whispering denials. Chun showed photos on a tablet. The rusted can with the Whitfield's old farm logo, a simple cow drawing from Garrett's father's era, and then the horrifying glimpse of bones wrapped in a blue tarp with yellow stripes. Grace recoiled, her stomach heaving, as the detectives explained DNA confirmation was pending, but the size matched Nora at disappearance. The emotional development here is profound. Grace's denial shifts to raw grief, a philosophical teaching on the human capacity for hope against overwhelming evidence. Modern relevance ties to English learning. Vocabulary like demeanor, manner, or behavior, helps describe character nuances, while idioms such as hit like a ton of bricks capture the sudden impact of tragedy. As Garrett burst in, dread etching his face, the family crumbled together, but the detectives pressed on. The can's origin made their farm a crime scene. Warrants were served, technicians swarmed, bagging soil and photographing barns, turning home into horror. Their lawyer, Sarah Thornton, arrived in her BMW, courtroom ready, challenging the warrant's basis on a potentially stolen can. She shielded them from immediate questioning, insisting on brief time, but the seed of suspicion was planted. Neighbors like Walter Brennan slowed to gawk, and by evening, whispers spread. Philosophical undertones emerge. Trust in community, shattered by proximity to evil, echoes Aristotle's ideas on friendship and betrayal. The chapter intensifies as police departed, leaving tape and tracks, and Walter arrived, his Ford truck kicking dust. At 62, with a careful gait from lifelong labor, he expressed shock at Nora's fate, drawing parallels to his son Daniel's grain silo death 5 years prior, a real historical nod to farm accidents, which claimed thousands yearly in the U.S. Walter's wife had left amid his drinking after a bad harvest, leaving him isolated. He offered help with chores, knowing their routines intimately: horses' grain, chickens' lockdown, even Buttercup, the mare's special feed. Grace watched him work, finding solace in normalcy, but then a news van screeched in. Reporter Kelly Martinez, ambitious and relentless, thrust microphones, accusing based on leaks, insurance policies, financial woes. Garrett answered briefly, defending, but Martinez twisted, implying hidden guilt. Walter witnessed from afar, his truck pausing. Evening deepened. Walter returned, offering grain from his barn to tide them over. Grace insisted on going, needing action to stave off collapse. In Walter's barn, amid hay and oil scents, they loaded sacks, but Grace spotted a blue tarp with yellow stripes, identical to the evidence photo. Panic surged. She stumbled, hitting her head on a beam, blood flowing. Walter helped, apologizing, hiding the tarp, explaining its commonality. But the seed of doubt sprouted. Back home, Garrett bandaged her, sharing nightmares of the photos. Grace couldn't eat, thoughts spiraling to dismemberment horrors explained clinically by the examiner. The house's silence amplified absence. No bedtime stories, no arguments. Through the window, Walter's lights flickered. She decided to borrow his trailer for the funeral, walking the fence path. In the barn, Walter startled at her entry, wrench clattering. She asked for the trailer. He demonstrated, but her eyes caught his jacket's contents, a child's drawing of Clara and Daddy, resembling an older Kora. Horror froze her. Walter noticed, his mask slipping. He blocked the door with a shotgun, confessing he'd seen her look. Forcing her deeper, he revealed. He'd taken both girls, kept Kora, now Clara, happy, but Nora died of pneumonia untreated to avoid detection. The hidden room under the barn, masked by manure, was pink and equipped, a twisted paradise. Kora flinched from Grace, calling Walter Daddy, brainwashed with accident lies. Garrett's voice above prompted Walter upstairs, locking Grace in. She heard lies to Garrett, then burst out screaming truth. A chaos, struggle over gun, discharge wounding Walter. Grace fled, called 911, grabbed pistol, returned to find Garrett victorious. Police swarmed, rescuing Kora, who clung to her delusion. Hospital scenes unfolded. Walter confessed premeditation, building the room, luring girls with kittens, faking accidents, dismembering Nora for the can to frame parents. Psych evaluations cited delusional disorder from losses. Upstairs, Kora drew, insisting on Clara, therapy ahead. Grace vowed patience. Philosophical wisdom. Epictetus' control over reactions teaches resilience. Modern tie, true crimes like Ariel Castro's case highlight hidden horrors. English lesson, contorted, twisted, describes faces. Idiom, elephant in the room for unspoken truths. Thought-provoking, in a world of facades, how can we cultivate true discernment to protect our loved ones from unseen dangers? As the first rays of dawn pierced the hospital windows, painting the sterile walls in soft hues of hope and sorrow, Grace and Garrett sat vigil by Kora's bedside, their hands intertwined like roots seeking strength in soil after a storm. The beeps of monitors provided a mechanical heartbeat to the room, a stark contrast to the organic rhythms of farm life they'd lost. Kora, or Clara as she insisted, clutched her teddy bear, her eyes darting between these strangers who claimed to be her parents and the door where she hoped Daddy Walter might appear. Dr. Elena Marsh, the child psychologist with a gentle voice that could soothe even the most fractured young mind, worked patiently, using drawings as windows into Kora's psyche. Each crayon stroke revealed a world meticulously constructed by Walter, happy scenes of Daddy protecting her from bad people, echoing historical brainwashing tactics seen in cases like the Stockholm Syndrome origins from a 1973 bank robbery in Sweden, where captives bonded with captors. Emotionally, Grace's journey evolved from raw anguish to determined love, a philosophical pivot towards stoic acceptance, focusing on what she could control, like rebuilding bonds. Garrett, ever the stoic farmer, cracked under the weight, tears flowing as he whispered memories of pancake Saturdays and egg collecting with Freckles the hen. Vocabulary enrichment, vigil, a period of watchful attention, captures their watch. Idiom, crack under the pressure, describes emotional breaking. Modern relevance to English learning lies in narrative therapy, where storytelling heals, much like in ESL classes using tales to build vocabulary. Down in recovery, Walter's confession continued under Morrison's probing, detailing the abduction's minutiae, luring with church egg lies, descending to the room with kitten promises, initial screams muffled by soundproofing. He spoke of Nora's illness with twisted regret, justifying no medical help to preserve his family, a delusion rooted in losing Daniel, historically akin to post-trauma responses in rural America where mental health resources are scarce. The dismemberment description chilled, tools from processing shed, spring flood disposal to frame Whitfields, leveraging the can's origin. Pride in homeschooling Kora shone disturbingly, advanced reading, art, all while erasing her past. Upstairs, therapy sessions peeled layers, Kora's flicker of memory at pancake tales, but quick retreat to Walter's narrative. Grace reflected on trust's philosophy, drawing from Plato's cave allegory, Kora trapped in shadows of lies, needing light of truth. Community reaction swelled. Media frenzy outside hospital, neighbors shocked at Walter's facade, Sheriff Daniels guilt-ridden for missing clues. Historical tie. Similar to 1980s McMartin preschool hysteria, false accusations masking real evils. Emotional arcs peak as Grace sang a forgotten lullaby, sparking Kora's hum, a breakthrough. Philosophical teaching. Nietzsche's "What doesn't kill us makes us stronger" applies to resilience. The family navigated legal mazes, Walter's trial looming, DNA confirming Nora, funeral planning amid scrutiny. Grace's growth, from victim to advocate, pushing for rural mental health awareness. English idioms. Peel back the layers for revealing truths. Thought-provoking. When faced with betrayal's shadows, how might embracing vulnerability lead to deeper connections and personal growth? The courtroom in Cedar County buzzed with the weight of justice, its wooden benches filled with townsfolk whose whispers formed a chorus of disbelief and judgment, much like the public trials of the Salem witch hunts in 1692, where community paranoia unraveled lives. Walter Brennan, leg in a cast from the shotgun wound, sat at the defense table, his once friendly face now a mask of resignation, defended by a public attorney arguing insanity from grief-induced delusions. Prosecutor laid out evidence, hidden room photos, drawings, confession tape, DNA on Nora's remains. Grace testified first, voice steady despite tremors, recounting the discovery. Barn confrontation, Kora's brainwashing, a vivid character moment of maternal ferocity. Emotional development. Garrett's testimony broke him, admitting years of self-doubt, philosophical shift to forgiveness for healing. Vocabulary. Resignation, acceptance of something undesirable. Idiom lay out the evidence, means present facts clearly. Modern English learning connects to debate skills, using such narratives to practice persuasive language. Historical elements. Abduction parallels Elizabeth Smart's 2002 case, Survival through adaptation. Walter's testimony repeated love claims, detailing saving girls from imagined threats post-Daniel's death, a twisted paternal instinct. Jury deliberated, guilty on kidnapping, murder, body desecration. Sentencing, life without parole. Outside, media swarmed Grace, who spoke of resilience, urging vigilance. Back home, farm routines resumed, but with therapy sessions where Kora slowly reclaimed memories, egg-stand joys, parental hugs. Philosophical wisdom. Confucius on family bonds enduring. Community rebuilt trust, historical nod to post-World War II rural recoveries. Grace's reflection. Evil's proximity teaches empathy. Idiom, turn over a new leaf for change. Thought-provoking. Injustice's aftermath. How can forgiveness transform pain into purpose for societal good? Months turn to years in the Whitfield's healing journey, the Iowa season cycling like life's metaphors, harsh winters of grief yielding to spring's renewal. Kora, now 14, integrated slowly. Therapy unraveled Walter's lies, memories resurfacing in dreams of sisters' laughter. Grace and Garrett's patience embodied agape love, philosophical unconditional care from ancient Greek thought. Vivid moments, family picnics recreating lost rituals, Kora's first voluntary mom a milestone. Historical, akin to Holocaust survivors' reintegration, building identity post-trauma. Emotional arcs, Kora's confusion to acceptance, Grace's guilt to grace. Vocabulary, unraveled, undone gradually. Idiom, weather the storm for enduring hardship. Modern relevance. ESL via storytelling fosters empathy, universal wisdom on mental health. Community events honored Nora, farm became advocacy hub. Walter's prison letters ignored, his delusion persistent. Final reflection. Life's fragility demands presence. Thought-provoking. As we rebuild from loss, what legacy of love will you create to inspire future generations?